Hi, I'm Timothy Corrigan, and I'm so excited to tell you about my home in the French countryside, Château du Grand-Lucé. I owned another chateau in the Loire Valley, and I'd always driven by the Château du Grand-Lucé and always sort of loved it because it's considered one of the finest pieces of neoclassical architecture in France. And it was really largely unrestored since the Second World War. So there was no electricity, there was no plumbing, there was the outside structure, but the inside was really untouched. Renovation in France is always a tricky thing, particularly when you've got a building like this, which is a national landmark. For example, I wanted to put a swimming pool in, and they said, oh, no French chateau has a swimming pool. So there was a lovely round reflecting pond that I said, oh gee, it cracked. And so all of a sudden that reflecting pond became a much bigger round circle and a much deeper pond, and all of a sudden became a heated swimming pool. There are certain rooms where drama is really key, and I think the dining room is one of them. You're not in a dining room for that long, so you can actually go for some real wow factor, and that's really what I tried to do. It was one of the few rooms that needed very little restoration other than adding electricity and paint. So as soon as we got the electricity done, I thought, let's paint the room. And it all looked great for a couple months, but then all of a sudden, the paint literally started rolling off the walls. And it was quite a staggering thing to watch sheets, almost like wallpaper, of paint just rolling off the walls. And that's when we learned that you actually can't use traditional paint on 18th century paneling like this. We have 14 guest rooms in my bedroom, and there are still a couple more to do in the main chateau. But I wanted to make it not feel like it was a hotel. And so I consciously decided to decorate each room as if a different person were staying in there. So in one room I sort of imagined, gee, what if Virginia Woolf were staying here? In another room, what if a French general were staying here? So each room has its own personality, its own theme, its own sense of color. Whenever I start a project with a client, I talk to them about how they live, how they use their rooms, how they want to use their rooms. Do you feel comfortable putting your feet up on a table? Do you feel okay putting a glass down on a table and not worrying that it's going to leave a mark? I think when you live in a space that's too precious, that's too perfect, you don't feel comfortable. And I think that's really informed the whole way that I design today, is that if a room is beautiful but not comfortable, it's not successful. To me, there's no place that I love being more than at the Chateau. It truly is a place of peace and of a nurturing place for me. And so I think it really becomes a place that I find my truest self. And it's a place that I bring all my family and friends. One friend designer who came and literally said, well, this is truly the schmanciest place I've ever stayed. She said, but it's also the most comfortable. It truly reminds me as a designer that while this home may be a chateau, there are things there that I've learned that I can translate as a designer to any home, anywhere. And I think that makes it such a rich place to live.